Hey, you okay, buddy? The old man looked up from the sidewalk where he sat surrounded by his worldly possessions. His eyes, a faded blue, searched the speaker's face, finding a young girl with a tangle of red hair and a smile that seemed too bright for this shadowed corner. She held out a crust of bread. Thanks, darlin', but it's not for me. He gently took the bread and held it out to the pigeon that had been his sole companion since dawn. The bird cooed, a sound of pure gratitude, and took the offering with a flutter of wings. The girl Emma knelt beside him, curiosity sparkling in her emerald eyes. Is it your pet? The man chuckled, a sound roughened by years of solitude and smoke. Nah, just a friend passing by, like you. Emma watched as the pigeon pecked at the bread, its eyes never leaving the man's. It seems to know you. We've got a bond, him and me, the old man said, stroking the pigeon's feathers. We're both trying to find our way in a world that's forgotten us. The man's name was George, and his story was as weathered as the hat he wore. Once a promising artist, his dreams had been crushed by the harsh realities of life. The pigeon had been his muse since the day it had first landed on his outstretched hand, a silent witness to his paints drying up and his canvas of hope fading to gray. Every day, George would sit in the same spot, his easel displaying a canvas that remained stubbornly blank. The pigeon would arrive, cooing gently as if urging him to create something beautiful amidst the chaos of the city. Emma visited George often, bringing him scraps of food and tales of her schoolyard adventures. She saw in him the grandfather she never had, and in her, he found the spark of life that had long ago dimmed. He began to paint again, not masterpieces, but simple images of the pigeon and the girl, their friendship captured in strokes of color that danced across the canvas. Their bond grew stronger with each shared story and silent moment. The pigeon would listen as George spoke of his lost love, a woman named Linda, who had been his muse before the bird had come along. He painted her portrait from memory, the pigeon watching from its perch. One cold winter day, Emma didn't show up. Concerned, George shuffled to her apartment, only to find her mother, eyes red from crying, who told him that Emma had been in an accident. The girl lay in a hospital bed, her body frail and bruised. Heart heavy, George returned to his spot, the pigeon absent for the first time in months. He painted feverishly, pouring his fears and prayers for Emma into the canvas. The pigeon finally returned, bringing with it a strange energy that filled George's heart. Days turned to weeks, and Emma's condition grew worse. The pigeon remained a constant presence by George's side, as if it too knew the gravity of the situation. It was as if the bird had become a messenger of hope in a world that had stolen so much from him. On a quiet afternoon, Emma took her last breath, her mother clutching her hand. George, lost in his thoughts, didn't know until he heard the news from a tearful neighbor. The pigeon, sensing his grief, landed on his shoulder, its warmth seeping into his soul. He painted that day not with brushes, but with tears, creating a masterpiece that captured the essence of their friendship. The pigeon grew weaker as George's health declined. One morning, it didn't come. The old man knew it was time. He packed his things, leaving the empty canvas behind, and made his way to the hospital, the portrait of Emma in his trembling hands. In the quiet of the room, George whispered his goodbye to the girl who had brought him back to life, the pigeon's image etched into his heart. He placed the painting beside her, a final gift from a friendship that had transcended the boundaries of their brief time together. The pigeon waited for him outside, its eyes dimming. With a heavy heart, George set it free, watching as it fluttered into the sky. The bird circled once, twice, before disappearing into the horizon. George sat back down on the sidewalk, his canvas empty once more. But as the sun dipped below the buildings, a single ray of light fell upon the spot where he had painted every day, revealing a faint image of the pigeon in flight, forever captured in the heart of the city. The old man passed away that night, his soul joining the pigeon in the endless sky. And though their time together was short, their bond had been etched into the fabric of the world, inspiring those who saw the painting to find beauty in the unexpected connections that life brings.